Sky News.
Now Charlotte's here, she's got the rest of the day's news. Good morning to you.
Thanks very much, Anna. Good morning. 3 suspected Russian spies have been told they'll remain in jail after waiving their right to a detention hearing. 2 of the defendants have now admitted they're Russian citizens living in the US under false identities. Greg Milam has the details.
They lived their lives as American.
Now, they're not known for being the most maternal of creatures, but this dragon is proving a mother's love really knows no bounds. This Komodo dragon, who gave birth to an impressive 23 eggs in January, is now preparing for her youngsters' arrivals. Well, the births will be good news for the dragon population. The species has officially been classed as endangered, but I think she's going to have her work cut out. 23 children is a fair old number.
23 children, and they all look like that. I wouldn't be too chuffed about that. Have you ever seen a Komodo dragon?
No.
I have. They're terrifying. They're huge.
Up close, I don't think.
No, none in this studio. Charlotte, see you later. Thanks for that. Let's take a look now at what's on the front pages of the
every week.
Good morning, you're watching Sunrise. I'm Anna Jones, here with you live through till 10. Still to come, we've got a review of the morning papers with Michael Brooker. But first, let's get you up to date with our top story here this morning. A 5th person has been arrested in connection. Let's find out the rest of the day's news now. Here's Charlotte.
Thanks very much, Anna. A married couple suspected of spying on America have admitted they are Russian citizens. Prosecutors in New York say Michael Zottoli and Patricia Mills.
Sure. No, we're delighted that the species can continue, but luckily not in my backyard.
I'll prepare the cigars.
Yes. That's a lot of cigars for the dad. Well done him. Michael Booker's here, as you can see. He's Deputy Editor of the Daily Star Sunday to review the papers. Welcome to you. Good morning. We actually start with a rather grim story, our own top story today. A teenager stabbed to death in London in a knife ambush.
Yeah.
This is picked up by the Daily Mirror, isn't it?
Well, it's in the Mirror. It's across all the papers. I think a lot of it is because of that picture of Zach Olamegmon, 15-year-old lad. He looks a little younger in the picture. But I think it just goes to show that any parent out there who thinks that my son, my daughter couldn't be in a gang, he looks just like the sweetest little kid. He's obviously had his troubles
looks like
before.
A small child, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks like, you know, it's a million miles from where you'd think was a gangster. But I think it just goes to show that in this day and age that any kid can get into it, and it's quite easy for them to be drawn into it. He was apparently in a South London gang called T-Block, who had been fighting rivals from the Gas Gang in Brixton. But I think there's thousands of these gangs all over the country in every town and city. And as you can see as well in the Mirror, it talks about the 12 other teenage victims in 2010, which have kind of been glossed over a little bit since the turn of the year.
Well, they're not familiar names,
no.
are they? I mean, why is it, do you think, that there are some kids, some victims that gain more attention than others? What is it about certain cases? Jimmy Mizzen, for example.
I think sometimes the news cycle. Sometimes there is other things that we've got to. You know, we are talking about. We've had the World Cup has taken precedence recently. We had the election that seemed to bang on for months and months and months. And I think these things are sometimes cyclical, and it takes an event, it takes a picture like that sometimes just to get everyone's mind focused again. Unfortunately.
Well, yes, focus, but so many questions. What do you do about knife crime in London? How do you stop it when it's so much part of the culture?
Well, that's the thing, and that's why parents have got to sit up and take notice and probably do a lot of the work themselves.
Let's move on to the Daily Mail, and once again, Anna Chapman makes it to the front pages.
Yes.
She really has captured the papers, the media generally, their imagination.
I blame male media executives who think, look at her with her red hair, look at her, woo,
Isn't she gorgeous?
Yeah, more chillingly Koshenko, we've got to call her as well. Come on, that makes it more scary. But there she is chillingly at Christmas in Britain in 2002, obviously finding out what
with a paper hat on.
Exactly. She was drinking the red wine, that was a clue. So no, there she is with her ex-boyfriend at what looks like a chillingly rubbish Christmas at British Christmas. I don't know what she reported back. They're still backward. They're still eating sprouts and parsnips. But I don't know. It just seems to be these like Viz's pathetic sharks. These are the pathetic spies because they don't seem to have done anything particularly. They just kind of infiltrated British life and then American life and then just sort of hung around a bit.
Well, that's right. And I suppose the question mark here that the Daily Mail raises is whether or not she was already supposed to be spying at this stage when she was in England, or whether she got into it a little later on.
I think that the Mail know as much about it as anyone, really. And I think, obviously, she's sat there in a little detention centre somewhere in New York at the moment. She's the only one who knows what actually went on. And in the meantime, we're all having a great time speculating about the saucy strumpet spy.
Well, exactly. And Charlotte, I was looking at inside the pages as well. In the Russian media, they say inside the Mail, they're very proud of her as well.
Well.
They've called her Agent 90, 60, 90 in recognition of her vital statistics in centimetres. I mean, there is a certain national pride there as well.
Well, I think, yeah, she has certainly captured the media's attention, hasn't she?
Well, Russia didn't get to the World Cup, so they've got to, you know, there's a triumph somewhere there.
Well, talking of national triumphs, we can hardly boast one, according to The Guardian. Britons today, apparently, we're lonely, fat drunks.
Yeah, well, tell us something we didn't know. This is the Office.
We're living a long time.
Office for National Statistics. Yeah, we are living a lot longer. It's thanks to the welfare state, apparently, since 1948 when we.
So that's not the key to living longer, then.
No, it's just
being fat and drinking more.
This is what we are. 25% of us are already clinically obese. 1 in 5 men drink more than double the recommended daily allowance of alcohol in a week. The figure for women is 1 in 7. For women, there is good news. The more of getting into education, and the gap between men and jobs, in terms of the best jobs, is getting narrower. So poor old us fellas, you lot are catching us up. But then it'll probably take another 50 years to properly catch us up.
So disappointed.
We have some time. Oh no, I'm going to get torn to pieces in a second.
It's an all-women team this morning. Be careful what you say.
But yeah, it's a fairly gloomy report. Women apparently having children with men, and then as soon as they're having the children with men, they decide, I don't want to stay with him. So everyone's just living alone, drinking a lot, and getting fat and stupid.
Imagine how long we'd all live if we didn't drink and get fat. Yes. Let's move on. In fact, it's a related story, isn't it, in the Daily Express?
Yeah, well, we said that 25% are told we're clinically obese. Now, it seems to be going a little bit far. This is a lad called Tom Holton, 11-year-old. He's a motorbike trials rider. He was at his local school where they came around, and as part of a national programme tackling childhood obesity, he had he was measured, weighed, all that sort of thing. He was told that at 7 stone 10 pound, he was clinically obese.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, look at this kid. He looks completely normal and fine.
He's now very upset about it, and
he's
now skipping meals, according to his mum, who is a nurse.
And more men are supposed to be victims of anorexia these days anyway, aren't they? There's so much pressure now on body image for men on the front pages of.
So this poor lad's going around not knowing what to do at the moment, and his family are quite understandably upset. The NHS are just saying, well, we were following a government advice,
a balance,
really.
Isn't it?
No, it certainly is, because look at that lad. Any right-thinking people think he's just normal.
Teach kids to be healthy, but not obsessed. That's, I suppose, the answer, isn't it? Let's take a look at the Sun here. Oh, it's Berlusconi's popping up again.
He's great, isn't he? There he was on a trip to Brazil, and all he was doing was seeing a display of traditional local dancing in his room, provided by a 20-year-old, she just turns out to be a lap dancer and a pole dancer. But according to a statement from his office, who have to prepare a lot of these statements, whoever does these is getting, decent money there. It was one of the many events he attended, and after politely remaining for several minutes, he left. According to the girl in question, she says he asked if she wanted to be on a TV show in Italy. As we know, TV shows in Italy do feature a lot of this sort of thing.
Well, he's having a good time, isn't he? I mean, especially because his team hasn't done so well. He's cheering himself up a little bit. Very quick look at the Daily Mail. We've got a story about a pretty carp.
Yes, it's a carp that looks like a man.
It doesn't look like a man.
This is Brendan O'Sullivan, that's not the carp's name. It's a 44-year-old from Dagenham who bought this carp, stuck it in his garden pond, didn't think of any more of it. Then he had a look one day while he was sunbathing and saw it had a human face. He said, I thought I had sunstroke. I think he probably did, to be honest. Although it's now worth £40,000.
No.
How is it worth £40,000?
Because it looks like a human. These are very rare. People don't normally see them. And if you do have a carp that looks like a fella or a woman,
we're going to have
a lot of money.
People around the country jumping into their ponds as we
and you know
speak.
what will be next? Plastic surgery for fish, and people will be like, I can make some money out of this.
I want a human that looks like a carp.
I want to look like a fish. Give me a fish face, doctor. OK, Michael Booker.
Thank you.
Good to hear your views. I'll see you again in an hour, I think. Now then, injured servicemen are being helped. Let's get the rest of the day's news now. Here's Charlotte.
Thanks, Anna. A married couple suspected of spying on America have admitted they are Russian citizens. Prosecutors in New York say Michael Zatoli and Patricia Mills confessed after they were arrested, along with 8 other suspects. 3 of the group have been told they'll stay in jail after waiving their right to a detention hearing. Greg Milam has more.
They lived their lives
as if they came out looking like that as well, wouldn't they? Charlotte, thanks for that. Let's take a run through what's on the front pages of the morning papers now. Good morning, you're watching Sunrise. Anna Jones here with you live through until 10. Still to come, we've got a review of the morning papers with Michael Booker, so we'll see you a little bit later. First though, let's get you up to date with our top story this morning. Let's fill you in on the day's main stories now. Here's Charlotte.
Thanks, Anna. A married couple suspected of spying on America have admitted they are Russian citizens. Prosecutors in New York say Michael Zottoli and Patricia Mills confessed after they were arrested.
OK, let's take a look at the morning papers now. Michael Booker's here, the deputy editor of the Daily Star Sunday. Good to see you. And we've got quite a selection here. Let's start with the front of the Sun, shall we, that you've picked out here. Paris Hilton back on the front pages.
Yeah, I just want to say hats off to the South African police. Now, before the World Cup, we were told that they were in chaos. We were also told that, a hooligan problem, that people will be shot on sight. But so far, the people that they've arrested are particularly the right people. Yeah, yes, they've let Paris Hilton off, but arresting her brilliantly. We've got Pavlos Joseph. He was a mortgage advisor. Again, we know the evil that they can wreak on this world. And earlier on, we had those girls who were involved in marketing for that beer. So again, marketing, mortgage advisors and Paris Hilton. They've done it brilliantly so far. And I think they've picked all the right people.